That's it?
Yeah,
And you have to hit this lead.
what's that?
Lead at the end.
When you, you hit leave there and then you press the button on the back. The off button in the back, yeah. All right, Alyssa, we're here. Let's see.
You are live streaming, so whenever you're ready.
All right. There we go. Okay.
They have to speak up a little bit more.
Yeah, oh. Shoot, we've got, even though I have to turn off the fan.
Okay. You should get the. Actually, I think we're gonna start on 161.
Yeah.
Welcome.
I was just waiting to see if Tony's going to move over. Good evening, everybody. We're here tonight to present to you our 2022 budget. Jeremy, Vernon, and myself are here tonight. I have our pamphlets to hand out.
Oh, you're famous for this.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, Bob is gone, so I wanted to stay on.
I would have been very disappointed if it wasn't a nice
Our
car.
contact information is on. Glad it's in person
Yes.
instead of virtual. It was hard. I was having a hard time last year doing virtual. It was different. I don't do it a lot, so it was very different for me to do it. I think have you all met Jeremy Vernon? He's an operator at the wastewater treatment plant.
Hey, Jeremy.
He's who we're training to become your next chief operator down at the facility.
Hey, welcome here. Appreciate it. So is there anything you want to point out to us?
No, just, I think everybody knows about the new project that's going forth down there this year. A lot of money. Yes, it is. Yes.
So
It's sort of a non-funded mandate that we're up against, but it's for nitrogen removal at the facility. That's what it's all about. So,
We did have this discussion, right? We got no
yeah,
choice.
I've seen you a couple times about it. Bill, and it's.
And does every city our size have to do this?
Depending on where they discharge to.
Oh.
That's what it all comes down to. What streams you discharge to is how DEC regulates your permit. So if we discharge, we're not in the Hudson, we're still in the Rondout, but they enforced that reg on us 5 years ago.
What, is if we're in the Hudson?
Excuse me?
You're saying they enforce this regulation as if we're in the Hudson?
No, you're not in the Hudson. It would be different.
Or would be more stringent?
No, it would be less.
where we at, we're changing it. 163, is it sanitary sewers?
Yeah, which one would you like to do first? Is there any other questions about the nitrogen project?
I think we covered that pretty well.
Yeah, if you've had any questions, we're here tonight to answer anything and then go over the budget with you.
Is it having the budget?
Excuse me?
Is the nitrogen thing in the budget?
No. That's going to be a bonded, which has been approved. We came forward, about a month ago, John and I, that was virtual. John Schulteis. and Aaron Moore, who's from Time Bond. Rennie, your chair, would you like to do the smaller one first? I mean, that's usually what we do.
Yeah.
Or if you would like to dig into the treatment plant. So there's three budgets tonight that I will present, two of them, and we'll present one of them for the sewer. Now, we take care of 8130, which is the treatment plant. We take care of pump stations, and then takes care of 8120, which is the collection system. So whichever one you guys would like to do first, or ladies would like to do first.
Mine's 820. 812.
20, that would be A.
Okay.
Yeah, well, let's go to page 169, which is, it's one treatment,
Yes.
168. 169.
Probably better for me.
61. 69 is the record for 168, right? 168, 168, 168.
Okay.
Right? Okay, look at, yeah. Oh, there we go. Hooray.
Okay.
So,
I guess the easiest thing to do is if you have any questions about it.
So we handle port units?
Yes, we do. Yes, they have a reserve capacity in our treatment plant that they own of our treatment plants, 10.42%.
So I guess they paid 10.42% to have it built.
Yeah, they pay on all our bonding issues, and they also pay 10.42% of our O&M budget at the facility, not the pump stations, not the collection system, just the treatment plant. And it's right in their contract. Yeah, but I don't know, John can contest how many years ago, 10 years ago or so, we renewed the contract before, you know, this was before Ed came.
Right.
so of course, the regular pay is up because
What was that, Tony?
the regular pay is up
Yes, it is,
because of,
because of the restructuring.
Restructuring.
Presented to you.
you got your capital plan, what is, this all types of equipment, $95,000, something capital plan?
Yes, it is. It's all stuff that we're asking for to be at the facility. It was in 211, but they moved it to capital.
And now, is this required?
To bond.
Is this required equipment?
No, this is equipment that we replace yearly in the facility.
Okay.
I mean, I'm happy to see this. Why is sludge disposal gone down so much? What? Nobody,
I'll let Jeremy speak a little bit, let him get used to it.
So they're separated, we have two like types of sludge and grit that we remove from the plant. So the separated grit disposal, so that money was allotted towards a different account. So
What is sludge versus grit?
sludge is what we, like a byproduct we produce from the plant, and grit is just it's what's like settles out in the very beginning of the plant, and it's disposed of in a different process of the plant.
It's all the dirt that comes in. It's inorganics. You know, whenever you salt the roads, we have a lot of combined sewer systems.
Yeah.
So when we salt, you know, it's just salt, but if we get dirt on the roads and it's just the grit, is what it is. It's the dirt. So when DPW was cleaning out with their Vector, we're out with our Vector, that all gets dumped on the pad. So what we did last year was Ed and I sat down and we made a choice to try to separate it to get a little better handle on how much was grit versus how much was sludge. If you look last year, it was quite a bit different. So what we did was we put the grit in 8121. So you'll see that when you look at Ed's 8120 count.
Okay.
Or did I say 8121? Excuse me, it's 8120. So all it is inorganics. It's dirt that comes off the streets.
what do we do with that?
We take it the same place out, the Resource Recovery Agency. It still gets knocked out at 105 a ton.
Okay.
Our sludge now is being composted with Denali water sources down in Westchester. So it's still dumped at Resource Recovery Agency at New Paltz, but it's no longer going to a landfill. Hopefully it's being used for you know, something good. Because we actually do have a clean sludge. We don't have a lot of industrial users. So people laugh at me when I say we have a clean sludge. It really means a lot. It's worth something. It's
Kind of an oxymoron, isn't
it is, because there's not a lot of industrial users here. It's not New York City. You know, you have a lot of, you know, industrial users, you have a lot of hospitals that do a lot of care for a lot of people, a lot of chemicals. And John Schulteis takes care of the pre-treatment for us, so. And we keep a, you know, very close tab on all of that.
Yeah. So now, if this is technically something that might be usable, could we somehow turn that into revenue instead of an expense?
To find a place to compost, Steve, it's hard.
Yeah.
We've talked about it, but it's a very, you know, not right now.
Can we put a sign up saying free sludge?
No, because it's not composted. What we give out is not composted. It's a class B. What they're making is a class A biosolids. What comes out of the plant is class
Just
B.
kidding.
No, well, we did do that. With
Oh, yeah?
acid. Yes, with acid, so,
Oh, yeah?
yeah.
Okay.
All that hazardous stuff is gone, right?
Pretty much. There's some money left in there for consultant fees. There's still, I'm not really sure. I know we have a new corporation counsel. I haven't met her yet. I'm actually, I ran into, what's his name the other day, and he told me I should come up and meet everybody and talk to them.
Steve Noble?
No. Our full counsel. Kevin, thank you. I'm sorry, I drew a blank. So I ran into Kevin at City Hall the other day, and he said I should stop up and meet the new corporation counsel.
Yeah.
Introduce myself to her.
Yeah.
So if she has any questions about Aslan, she knows where to go.
Okay. Any more questions about that?
I mean, we're pretty flat across the board this year.
Yeah.
There's really no, you know, we hired a new person, which you'll see next in 8121. We got somebody,
You got the revenues going up. Yeah, it's projected or that.
which revenue?
You got the revenue, we got, what's it, Black King. 21, 23, and 23, 40, 74, 41 portion, and other income.
Each.
And 8130, it's the, yeah, the revenue.
There's revenue in 8130, which would be leachate. Leachate is what we receive off the dumps. It has to be treated. There's liners in the dumps, and they bring us everything that leaches down through the dumps. Comes to our facility to be treated for Ulster County. Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency collects it off 4 dumps and also off of Jockey Hill. On Jockey Hill, we treat because it was ours, but we pay them to haul it. But the other 4 will be Ulster, New Paltz, Isopas. I think there's 3 that they bring to us. The bigger ones are New Paltz and the one up behind the Hudson Valley Mall.
Do they pay for that?
Yes, they pay 6 cents a gallon to us for that. Yep. I don't know what we projected, John. I think it's like 175,
That's correct.
175,000 a year. If you can tell me how much rain we're going to get, I'm going to tell you pretty close how much money we're going to make. That's what I tell Mr. Tui all the time.
So this was a good year then?
Yes, it is. It is. They've been there quite a bit. Yeah.
Why was report you looking for, it's up 25,000 projected.
That's a percentage of the debt, so we've incurred more borrowings the last year. We'll project more debt service payments on treatment plant related debt, therefore, for you share goes up to 10.42%. So that's 10.42% of the whole treatment plant related debt payments. It's scheduled for 2022.
They use our facility or something?
Yeah, we have a long-term agreement with the town, so it's providing capacity at a treatment plant.
All right.
That was at 10.42% I was speaking about before, only they have reserve capacity at our facility. We have to supply that to them. So like 10 years ago, it used to be based off of flow. But that got changed, and what we changed it to was just a very easy calculation, 10.42% of, or John can speak, I think it's the element, I'm not 100% sure.
Right, it's both, they pay 10.42% of all our operating expenses, as well as our debt related expenses.
Okay, thank you.
Do we want to move to 8122 now?
21, 81, 21, pump station.
Yep, okay.
This is where we hired a new employee. Victor Clearwater was hired this year.
That's a funny name for the job, right?
Yeah. I hope he seems, he's young. We're trying to hire young people, as you can see, like with Jeremy. So
What's his position?
he's a maintenance mechanic too.
Okay. Well, around here, it's 3 from last year, 3 to this year, so. That is really not.
Sorry. There should be two. There was a maintenance mechanic reposition, I think, last year, and then we went to 1 for this, 0 for this year, and 2 maintenance mechanic 2 positions.
8121,
Yeah, John.
there's a summary of the positions on
Oh, I'm meeting 130, I'm still meeting 130.
166 is the summary that.
Right, I see, okay.
There should be 2 maintenance mechanic 2 positions in that. So we were able to hire one. He did meet the qualifications for the maintenance mechanic 3 position. So we hired him as a 2. He's training at the facility, and he's also working every day in the pump station. And he, Jeremy goes out with him, myself, a couple of people that are good in the pump station as well with him to train him. So we're trying to make a younger workforce. It's hard to find operators. I don't know how to emphasize how hard it is. We're lucky to have the younger group that we have here today. So
Why is it harder?
there's nobody in our field.
The qualifications?
It's hard to get our operator's license. You just don't, you can go out, you can take the test, but you have to work at a facility before DEC recognizes you to take the final test, which is an ABC test, they call it, to get the license, because we are all licensed to do this. And we have to keep up on our contact hours. I'm 80 hours in every 5 years that I have to have, or I would lose my license. Jeremy is 60 right now with his 3A. I hold a 4A license, which should be the chief operator of that facility. Jeremy's a 3A licensed operator. Zach is a 2A licensed operator. You'll be a 3A licensed operator middle of next year. And Bob is a 4A also. So there's a series of operators how you walk. And depending on the size of your treatment plant is how that's dictated to what you need to have to be the chief operator there or the person in charge of it.
You ever get interested in the high school in down?
Yeah, we do a lot of tours, but it's been backed off a little bit right now because of the COVID, but we do tours. I like doing tours.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if there's anything that we can do to partner with BOCES or SUNY Ulster. or
We
if
try.
something that we're, like,
Actually,
in a pipeline.
There's college classes out at Ulster that we try to talk to out there, that we touch base with to try to get them to. But it's hard because you have to work there. You have to come in entry level. You have to come in as I just said to you, is that maintenance mechanic 2 position, which was a laborer's position, but we moved it up to maintenance mechanic 2. It's very close in pay. I think it's almost the same. And you have to work there. You can do all the schooling that you want, but the DEC is not going to give you a license until you work there and see that you have operating experience to run that plant and be able to handle what happens. So. I mean, that's 25 years there this year. Jeremy's 6 years.
25 years, how can you be only 35 years old?
Yeah, I wish.
So how long will it take this new person to move up to the next level?
Jeremy can take his test in 3 years, probably less than 3 years now, to take a 4A operator's test.
Okay.
So
And is there any increase in salary that time?
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Yes. You can go to senior operator. The way we have it set up down there is you have a assistant operator, senior operator, then there should be your chief operator. That's what Bob Cascio was when he left. But we have yet, the mayor asked me to be just appointed or just fill in for that position right now. So.
Okay, any other questions on that one?
8121 is pretty cut and dry, pretty simple, there's not a lot in it.
Yeah.
But we are looking at some new things. We're trying to chase this money. We met with Time Bond today. And I was very aggressive with them to try to go out and chase some money for us. And I think Ed could probably speech the same thing to you, that, we need to fix our infrastructure in this city. And it starts there, starting from the collection system to the pump stations to that plant. That's our future for this city, for our grandkids. And it means so much. And there's a lot of money out there right now coming forth. So today at the meeting, I was very aggressive with Pine Bond to try to get them. John Schulteis was right there with me to try to get them to look at where the money is, when it's going to come out. Because a lot of these projects you have to be shovel ready with, which means you have to spend some money to be ready.
Mostly sewer projects?
Yeah, I am sewer.
I know, yeah.
That's, I'm after the sewer money.
But what he's talking about is within the plan.
Yeah, plant and pump stations. Ed will speak to you about the collection system, which is probably even a bigger, broader area for infill. You can tell you how many miles of sewer in the city. And, how old it is, so. And with all that money coming out, I would hope that we get aggressive about it, because I know how hard it is to do all this stuff.
Do you all have any contingency plans relating to climate change? Because since you're down there kind of close to the water.
That, I haven't been involved in that, Rennie, in a lot of years. I don't know what they're doing with that. I really don't. I know that in the FEMA project, the plant was made to take, I think Sandy was the last storm. We were designed to take that storm plus 3 feet above it.
Okay.
Which is, I think, a foot above the levee down at the plaza that we also take care of, so everybody knows too. We take care of that. We just ran the pumps for the first time down there since they upgraded the pumping down there at the levee down behind Kingston Plaza.
You do that twice a year?
Run the pumps?
Yeah.
It all depends on how much water I can get in that retention tank. I can't just run the pumps. It takes a lot of water. So we go down there and we shut some valves so it doesn't go out to the creek. And then I let the retention pond fill up. Then I'll go down and run the pumps. So
Provided we have enough rain to actually.
that's right. You need enough rain to fill that retention pond because they're big pumps.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to run them dry. So we wait till the retention pond fills up. It was kind of the first time was like a month ago. I talked to Ed about it.
There you go.
And when we did it, I talked to DEP about it, and because it's like a shared thing. We take care of it, I run it, and they do the maintenance, and I'm the contact person to be called if we want to run the pumps, and our guys go down and do some lawn maintenance around it, try to keep it clean.
Yeah.
So, but it's good to know about it.
Yeah.
So how many inches of rain do we need?
I don't know, that's fun.
Because then we have,
Yeah, it all depends on probably how saturated the ground is and how much runoff we get. So I try to look for them long rain events that I can get down there and shut the gate, because that naturally just drains out to the creek. And what happens is when the creek starts to rise, the esopus, the water can't get out, and then it starts to back up into the retention tanks. That big tank, it's not a tank, I shouldn't say, it's a grassy area behind there. I don't know if you've ever been behind the plaza, but it's more so towards, Hannaford side. When you go around the back of Hannaford, it's right where it starts. It's right along Chandler Drive there. And that takes all the area around Dysing's Bakery. There's big 66, they're called twin 66s that come over from Dysing's that go out to the creek. So when it can't get out to the creek because there's flapper valves on the lines.
But that's in case, that's for flooding?
Yeah. That's how all the water from uptown Kingston gets out to the esopus.
Right.
And then when the esopus gets too high, it closes them valves and it's going to divert it to that retention pond. And at that point there, we have to pump it over.
Retention pond is closer to Hannaford's on,
Yeah, it is.
but
So if you go behind it, you'll see it.
but the Kingston side of Esopus, not the Ulster side.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes. It's between Hannaford's and Chandler Drive. Probably just never noticed it's got a chain link fence around it. It's just got a grassy area in it. They mow it.
Right.
But that's just a retention pond up so that we can run pumps.
Yeah.
If the creek gets too high. It's only happened one time in 25 years I've been here.
That Sandy?
Yeah, it was Irene.
Irene, yeah.
When Irene hit, when we got all that big flooding up in the Catskills, it all came down. Sandy was different. Sandy was a surge. Really didn't rain here. The surge is what got the plant.
So Al, going back to the wastewater treatment use,
Yes.
how did, because as you were saying before, so you were saying, we have to make sure that we maintain that treatment plant, along with the sewers are the main things in the city. You can't-
Well, it's not the main thing in the city, but it's, you know, on the sewer banks, I'm always advocating for get as much money as I can to take care of it.
Yeah.
Well, it's a treatment plant. Yeah.
How is it though?
It's just very good shape. It's in good shape. We take good care of the treatment plant. We try, I can say that.
Well, it's very.
We work a lot.
That's a very important asset.
We work a lot.
Right, but that goes down, that's stuff.
What does?
That's a very important piece.
It is, it's probably worth anything that the city owns is one single asset.
Yeah.
There's a dollar value that they put on it, somewhere between 130 and $150 million to replace that treatment plant. If you could find a place to do it, and that's not counting permitting, that's just to build the plant. So in the last couple of years, what did we put in? We did FEMA, which was all free to the city of Kingston, which was 95. I think it actually went, John could speak if he remembers. It was 95, but we were supposed to put 5% in. I think it went 100% if the state jumped in the other 5%, but that was like a $4 million project. And right now, we're looking at a $10 million project, $9 million we bonded. So $15 million over the last, 15 years down there probably is not that bad.
What's the number, what's the about 9 million?
It's for the nitrogen project, Tom.
Okay.
It's that we just came,
That these people out here don't know. So-
yeah, that's what we talked about a month ago to the council, not you, excuse me. It's, I'm all about it. That's what it is. I'm not out here to get, anything else. I'm about to get what I have and what I work for. That's what we should do when you're, person in charge of whatever you're in charge of. And that's the plant for me and the collection system. Like I said, with Ed, with the collection system. It's our future for our grandkids and everything. That's how I look at it. Without it, you're not going to have, it's hard to sustain a city like this. You can have everything else, but without having that plant and the collection system. It's only going to get worse because every year, every project goes up and up and up in value. We were talking about it the other day when I met you for the first time in John's office.
Yeah.
That project would be, 5 years ago, that nitrification project was probably 7 million. So now it's upwards of 10. And every year we wait, it just goes up and up and up. So,
Well, like Jim said, I appreciate the work you do.
okay. Again, in the front of these is Ryan and Jeremy. You just want to stop down? I tell you every year. Last year we were close. We were going to do it. Everybody
I was knocking on the door.
I know. But this is a good time. It's it's a good time to come down this time of the year. The bacteria's. We don't have as much hydrogen sulfide, so it doesn't stink as bad. That's all I can say. So if you want to come down, this would be a good time to do it and see what we're doing. Jeremy,
You want us to call, or can we just show up?
you can just call me on your way down. Either Jeremy and I will show you everything there is about that. All the interesting things upstairs, how we look at microscopes every day, to the bacteria every day. It's really, really interesting what we do.
Do you look at COVID? Are you looking for COVID?
No, we almost had that. There was a thing that they put out because what they're doing with COVID now is they're trying to look to see outbreaks with COVID in wastewater, and they think that's one of their first ways of looking at it. So we were contacted about it. I contacted Ed. He said, yeah, go ahead. They were looking for a plant our size in the Hudson Valley, but they picked Newburgh. I would have loved to do it. Because it wasn't only a year ago, we did one for all the meds. Meds go through your body, they go out in your stream, through your urine, through your waste, and we don't treat for that. We're biological, we're not, so we don't treat for that. So they did a study on what the meds and how they make it to the receiving stream, so we were part of that, which was very interesting.
That's why all the fish are so relaxed now, isn't it?
That could be, yeah. They're not been biting lately when you're fishing, or?
Just like, oh, dude, I can't even get over this.
Yeah. The creek's been a little dirty lately with all the rain we've had. Any other questions for us?
No, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good job, Alan.
Take great pride, it's obvious, thank you.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard, Jeremy.
Again, this is your future right here, guys. I'm telling you, I can't stress that enough. So, thank you.
Take care.
Have a good night, guys.
All right.
Good night. Thank you.
All right.
Now, would you guys want me to be here, or do you want me to kind of like drag the chair around and sit here?
Well, the problem is the sound on this one. Alan doesn't know how to sit down.
And just so you know, the beer tap is behind that little podium.
Do we want to start with 8120? Since it's sewer related, and we can segue into the rest of DPW.
Where are we, Rennie?
163.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Yeah, so it looks like the regular pay, there's a little increase there, $30,000 up. Is that the PSCA? Is it related to that at all?
That would most likely be the proposed, yes.
Okay. Let's see, overtime pay, looks like it's gone up, sewer.
Yes. Yeah, we're frequently getting more and more sewer calls due to the nature of our sewer system, failing more and more. So we definitely have to boost our overtime.
Is that getting to the point of needing an extra position?
Well, we do have extra positions coming out into, as a whole, DPW. So the more the merrier. There's actually one individual on here who's no longer with us. As of this week, it's his last day. So, so we will have the vacant position to refill and still go looking for more people.
Okay, and we also see this consultants line, 411. There's a new $10,000 charge there.
Do you remember what the consultant was?
For development projects, finishing some of the ones that we had on the slate.
Oh, did you hear him?
No.
Oh, okay, so that was for some of the projects that we're looking at to hire like a GPI or somebody to oversee a couple of things.
Okay, all right. Let's see, I guess, vehicle fuel, that's going up everywhere these days, right?
Yes, yeah, that's across the board.
Okay.
What's up with sludge going up so much? Sludge disposal?
Again, the fees, fuel surcharges. So this would be,
It's almost 100%.
yes, so this is what Alan was talking about. We kind of divided the areas. So that's the grit side of it. So we are trying to, because DPW is with all the sewer repairs, all of that material that comes out of the ground, we're digging, making repairs, that has to go and then sit on the pad to drain out, and then has to be disposed of properly, much the same way that the sludge from the sewer plant does.
Okay.
So we decided to separate it out to kind of keep track to see, what is the plant creating versus what we are creating.
As well as the grit, to go a little deeper into that, when you see the factor out and they're cleaning catch basins, cleaning manholes, all that is controlled. All that has to be watered and then dumped as controlled waste. The more we do, the more that goes up. So the more dirt, leaves, and garbage that makes it into the system, the more sewer breaks we repair, the more work that's done, the greater increase you're going to see in that.
So we're hoping to actually, get more of it because we are constantly trying to get out and do more and more repairs.
Yeah.
We're focusing on that. And right now, the paving season's over, so we got guys out, instead of running the blacktop, they're out digging holes, fixing bad sewer spots, known spots that are problematic.
Right.
So, over the next couple of years, we should see that line increase because of just the more amount of repair we're trying to do.
And just for comparison, there is an increase in that line, but year to date, we are almost $32,000 in grade. So that line is a little shy of where we would like to be, but, big.
Yeah.
This is a slot disposal or chemical area?
Yes, 498.
Thank you.
Any questions on
What's the newest sewer hookups that you have in revenue? Line item 2124, new sewer hookups. Would we anticipate on that?
That for the permitting,
Says new sewer hookup, you were about $6,500.
just anticipated, it's been trending for the sewer hookups and different, fees. So we're anticipating.
This is like new buildings, that's what this is, new sewer hookups. When
Yeah,
new
and
buildings go up.
even if there's a repair done, if people have to make a new tap, like let's say their current sewer line fails and they can't rehook at the main in the current position, if they move over 18 inches or 2 feet to get a new tap, that would require a tap fee from the DPW to actually make the tap. It's a charge for that.
It is one other question. You had said somebody in this department is leaving shortly.
It's already gone this week.
And which position is this on?
HMEO, be the very first one.
So it's going to be 3 to 2 right now, right?
Excuse me?
It's going to be from 3 down to 2. Right now, the thing is last week.
Yes, where it says HMEO, it'll be, we currently have 2 in that line, in that 101 regular pay. But we will, we are actually in search of someone to fill that spot right now.
Now, is this, do you fill this position the best possible within your department?
We try to move, if we have people who can meet the requirements, we will do in-house, yes.
Because, that's, I'm hearing this from, members of the department, and that's one of the things that they would like to see more in-house instead of going out and hire somebody brand new in the street, trying to be in-house.
Right.
And, so that people have an opportunity to move up, achieve the ladder, if you want to say.
Right.
So
we do that, and if
if we
typically
could do
somebody.
that more as often as possible, that would help out a lot, I think.
Yeah, well, if they meet the requirements, yeah, and if they are close to meeting a requirement, we will train people. We try to do within the house, but
Okay.
if they don't meet the requirement, we have no choice sometimes but to go outside.
Now, I was looking also, as the membership, whatever come to you in regard to training people within.
Oh, yes.
So you got some people like, for instance, the sewer line. You got people who are in the sewer line and you have laborers outside that are bringing whatever. Are they being trained? So if that person in that sewer retires or goes down, those people, those laborers, they can apprentices, you want to say?
Yeah,
Opportunities that they're
if they
learning while they're on the job.
Yes, if they make the effort to do what they can do to learn that position, we have no issue with them training, spending time training. We actually had a recent thing with safety training set up with the CSEA, for trench safety, for the utilization of the construction dig boxes. Fortunately, that got canceled because of COVID. Somebody in their department got COVID with CSEA. So, but yeah, we try to maintain some sort of training.
All right, folks, this just hearing from your membership, your rank and file, that is one of the things is that they would love to see that more of having people who are laborers or whatever, having an opportunity like an apprentice to be able to learn jobs, then they, you know, when a position opens or whatever, they can move in instead of hiring somebody just on the street.
Right, sure, we give every opportunity, but if you're talking a laborer going to an MEO or HMEO, that requires them to get on a drug and alcohol program, so there's a little more responsibility to it. And that's, the opportunity is always there.
All right, as long as they have an opportunity, they, whatever the requirements are, they gotta meet, so, that's, okay, thank you.
Ed, what, under revenue, what are the penalties? Who gets penalized? The first, 1090, under sanitary sewers, $30,000.
It's flat, it's a change, but
1090. Yeah, I got the penalties for,
I can answer it.
John, you got that?
That's the revenue that's generated when the unpaid sewer charges are levied onto the city tax bills.
Okay, so that's what we just
Sewer
voted
charges
on
are
last month.
levied by city code, there's a penalty that gets added onto the bill. And that's the fee for that.
So it's not people walking in saying,
No,
here's
no, it's just.
$25. Okay. All right.
Well, some of it, Steve, there might be late fees in there. So like if they're paying their quarterly bill, there could be fees there, but a lot of it's generated from everyone.
Yeah.
All right, you all good with that? All right, let's go back into the start of DPW, page 105. Code 1490.
that I just want to be on books, I'll have to just excuse myself for any discussion in regard to salary increases that they're proposed for this because of conflict of interest. And so if that's being discussed, you can hear from any other parts. This budget part, we'll talk, but I won't talk. I won't speak out or input into that part.
Okay, thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Hey, Rennie, did you have something?
What's that?
I'm sorry.
Oh, you ready?
I was sidebar here, sorry.
I have a sidebar here. So, yes, so 1490, regular pay, up a little bit. I guess that's also the salary adjustments through the proposal with CSEA.
Yes.
All that changed, okay. Let's see, anything else? Hopefully if the fuel's up again, yes. I don't see much here. Septic stand out to anybody else? Any questions there, 1490? Anything else on that? All right, then we can go to carpentry services, 1621. We're probably going to see about the same percentage on each of these with the regular pay, right?
Yeah.
A little increase there.
Yep. Vehicle maintenance, we try to bump that up a little bit. So every year the vehicles get a little older, need a little more TLC. Price of parts these days is going crazy. Tires are almost impossible to get. You can't get them for more money. We try to buy everything on state bid, but even the state bid stuff is having issues with getting proper sizes that we need for some of our vehicles.
Is that the standard supply chain problem that's going on all over the world?
Yeah, we're currently dealing with, I think, 5 different suppliers and just taking what we can get.
Uh-huh. Gonna have to go back to horses? All right, is there any other questions on that one? All right, then we can move to page 109, buildings and grounds, 1625.
This one here is gonna probably need some explaining.
All right,
The building and grounds is currently been used mostly by Parks and Rec. They have, even though the 1625 is in our department, they've currently drawn off this account. So what we're proposing for 2022 is that we're increasing the budget for this, and we are going to be adding 3 full-time positions to take care of more and more of the city, as well as the city-owned properties, the medians, everything that goes around now and kind of gets not neglected, but kind of falls short sometimes. Parks and Rec has made it apparent to us that they do not want to do a certain work. They want to move it to our department so they can focus more on the parks themselves. So a lot of what they currently do now is most of the city-owned properties that require weekly maintenance. They handle that end of it, but now it's going to fall on DPW. All the stuff on Broadway now, all the new streetscape projects, that's going to fall on DPW to do, any trimming and cleaning.
And the new Empire State Trail, does that fall on you too?
The trails the rail trails themselves are going to fall on parks.
Even the Empire State Trail that the state put in?
The linear trail, or no,
No.
out on the boulevard,
Yeah.
that's still parks.
It is, okay.
I don't know if you can give us any kind of percentage. So all the new responsibilities that this, I'm going to call it a department, will handle. Were up until this time done somewhere else, right?
Yeah, a good
How
portion.
much would you say this new department is going to pick up percentage-wise of things that were done before, or some of these going to be new duties?
They will
Or
be,
mostly just
they will be
doing what?
new duties. There's going to be some that we currently do, and then probably 25-30% of what Parks is currently doing.
How much?
Probably 25 to 30% will fall back on DPW.
And what is that, just currently in the talking stages about them not doing certain duties, or is that pretty much a done deal?
That's in here, and if you approve that budget, that's where it'll be.
So I hear that the work is being done, we're getting 2 new full-time people, is that going to be enough to do all this work?
It's 3 full-time people.
Uh-huh.
We anticipate that being enough. We will also, of course, fold in with some of our other current personnel if needed to make that happen.
And I couldn't hear you again. What is the responsibilities of this buildings and grounds? Give me some examples of what the responsibilities would be.
All the maintenance, all the city-owned properties.
Maintenance of all, okay. I
yeah.
couldn't hear you with them.
Okay. It's going to be taking care of the pike plan, like the uptown, washing the sidewalks. Brian, you want to chime in on anything else?
Examples, new stuff, Broadway bioswales, tree pits. The Broadway bioswales, the tree pits, all the new stuff that's on Broadway for the streetscapes project.
Okay.
The interchange is a new one to DPW. That was something that fell under Parks and Recreation. The new interchange will be taken care of by the building and grounds crew.
You mean the roundabout?
Yes, a new roundabout.
Like this mowing and stuff, is that what you're saying? Obviously the city plowed anyway, right?
We plow, we have a maintenance agreement with the state, so we do the plowing around that. They come in 587, go around the loop, go back out 587. We do everything else, all the avenue up to that and around that circle.
We don't get any compensation from
We
the
do,
state.
we do get compensation from the state. Yes. It's not a lot, but it's something.
Something,
It's
right?
more than shared services, so
Okay.
we actually get a
Who's doing the linear park?
linear park is going to be on us.
All right, from, that goes up to the plaza, right?
Right, well, that's actually gonna stay, I guess that's parks, it's kind of, they kind of went back and forth, so, right, I'm thinking back to when I was still in charge of parks. So yes, that'll stay under parks, the bike trails themselves will be handled by the parks.
There's a difference between the requested and recommended. Is that because the equipment, that big line, 126,000 was moved to the capital plan? Or was that zeroed out again?
Which one are you looking at here?
1625, under equipment.
211? Yeah, that was all moved to capital.
Okay, we'll look at that.
Got a big wish like that.
All right, everybody good on that one? So then let's move to 3310.
What is it?
3310, page 111, traffic control.
Okay.
The construction materials and supplies there,
Yes.
that's for like light poles and things, right?
No, traffic control. I think that was including the signs, right, but I think that number also includes the transferred money for all the stop signs. Oh, which one are you talking? The 40,000? Okay, sorry, I think we're looking at a little bit different thing here, I have a different printout, so.
47
Yeah.
487, construction materials.
is down. It's gonna be down. I'm sorry. I'm always looking at the revised stuff, but it's the actual stuff.
We requested 40,000, the recommended is 35,000.
Yeah, last year we voted a little less than 30,000. So these supplies, is this like the paint? This is like the paint that you signs? and all that
Yes,
stuff?
stop signs, painting for the traffic, crosswalks, all that stuff. Yes.
And so, and how is all this new painting on the roads going to affect these costs here?
Oh, it's going to add to them.
Uh-huh.
There's more to paint now with all the rail trails.
And there's a lot of other actual new materials, right? Like the green.
Right, there'll be a higher cost to those particular materials. We don't typically use them, so we're kind of at the mercy of what the engineers designed for that. And we have to use a special material accordingly.
Uh-huh. Not to get too far out in left field here, Ed, but what are the green markings? Like at crosswalks, what does the green paint mean?
They indicate driveway crossings, exits where you should, if you're in the bike lanes, you're anticipating an intersection where there would be cross traffic, or there'd be a driveway where somebody would be backing out of or pulling into. That's to indicate.
Basically a
to the-
warning sign.
Mostly I had a feeling it had to do with bikers.
Right, and that's a marking for them to be aware that there would be cross traffic in their path.
Okay.
In regard to that roadway, the city doing the painting of those signs?
No.
No, that was part of the construction. We just, from this point
But
on.
you're
have to
saying
maintain it.
you're gonna have to maintain,
Yes.
or the city's gonna have to maintain?
Yes.
Okay. I think, okay, thank you.
give us into what the lifespan of that paint is on Broadway?
Currently, there's two different materials that have been installed in the city, two different processes, two different kinds of materials, kind of trial and error. The state installed a clear epoxy with green glass out on the boulevard, whereas on Broadway, they used a green epoxy with a gritty, almost like a fish tank rock that's also green. As Ed said, we don't currently stock these materials. This is new to us. We had one winter with the Boulevard and Greenhill Avenue to see how it would wear, what the longevity is going to be. We'll have this winter with Broadway. We'll make a decision probably in the summer of next year which product we're going to go with. Pay particular attention to this line for any of you that are going to join us next year for this. This line is going to increase by probably 15 to 20% over the next 5 years, each year. Due to the number of places that we have to paint, the volume of paint we have to buy and stock, as well as the new materials, because with two of the other projects that are coming, you're going to see red go on the roads. Red is a new one for us as well.
Which two projects you're referring to?
Henry Street and Franklin Street, safe routes to school projects.
Yeah.
The pavement markings are in lieu of fixed bump outs for curves, which you see at the new roundabout. From a DPW perspective, we would rather have pavement markings that we need to maintain as opposed to these curves that jut out into the road that will destroy our snowplows and cars that don't expect. But the cost of materials on the paint side are going up. This year, we saw a 50 to 100% increase in just about everything that we use. Those prices have not come down yet. The availability forced us to go to other suppliers, and the availability of what we normally use just wasn't there. We did all the key places that we had to get to this year, but volume, the number of places we need to get to, and the amount of pavement markings that we are now required to maintain is going to push this number up and up and up, which will also be reflected in overtime as well. So just be mindful of that as these projects come through and we go through the 30 or 3310 traffic control line next year. You're going to see increases to this from all of those things.
Now, help me out with this. I mean, there's a lot of markings on the roads now. Are there mandatory markings that have to go out?
Yes.
And is it like 100%, or is there, you know, a certain percentage that it's our option to do?
Well,
I don't know if you can put a.
I mean, we have all these different committees that meet, and the public safety or traffic safety council that we have. We want our streets to be as safe as possible, right? We want our crosswalks to be as visible as possible. The bike lanes, bikes in lane, the sharrows that you see on a lot of our streets that don't have dedicated lanes. This stuff is required to keep everyone aware of what's going on around, to try and keep the cyclists, the pedestrians, and the drivers as safe as possible. So could it be reduced? That would change the scope of the project. The projects are designed specifically for pedestrian and bicycle and traffic safety.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting we reduce it. I'm just wondering, you know, whether we had to. I mean, I think it's a good thing that we're being as safe as possible. You know, even though we're not required to do it, it's a good thing. So, you know, I'm not here shilling for reducing the amount of safety warnings out there.
Well, if you have time, stop over. I have a book about this thing of the guidelines that are required by DOT for certain aspects. And the city falls, we're in a unique position because of our population density, traffic volume, and number of crossings that we have. So it's a lot to keep up on regularly.
Like that.
Knowing I mean, Ed and I sit for hours sometimes going through laws and seeing what we can do now to get us by and what we have to strive to be better at. So, yeah, the short answer is yes, a lot of it is required.
Okay.
Could have just said that.
Well, but I'd love for somebody to take a look at that book other than me.
Do I have to read it right in your office?
You don't have to, but
Maybe have it finished in the weekend.
Yeah.
And there was so much that didn't get done this year because we didn't have material to do it with. We just recently we finally got a shipment from our normal supplier just a week ago for 2 pallets of paint that we were not able to get for almost a year. And, we've been just borrowing and stealing from different entities and, yes, and the big freeze down in Texas, a lot of paint plants down there, they just stopped producing. Just trickled down effect, and everybody had the same. The state, the towns, everybody around us had problems getting paint. We tried to outsource it and wound up paying for just a roundabout figure. We typically get it in 5-gallon pails. We went from $65 a pail to $123 a pail to buy it locally.
Yeah, I where I work and I price at school every day. Part of my job is to reprice things, it's like 100% sometimes on things. It's crazy.
So, and that's if you can get it. So luckily we buy enough material from a local establishment here that we can get on the first call list.
Yeah.
And when they get something in, we're the first call. Yep. Give me what you got.
It's got to be a tremendous strain on your personnel, the amount of painting that has to be done, not to mention setting it all up and,
Oh, yeah.
and
trying to do it
every couple of years, we're going to have to be back out there again, redoing it, right?
Well, it's almost seasonal.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff out there that has to, after the plows go over it all winter long. Come springtime, you got to freshen it up. I get calls all the time about crosswalks needing redone.
Yeah.
And we got out, we recently got a shipment, so we were able to get out and do some stuff.
Yeah.
But now you're at the time of year where it's hitting this, with the temperature.
Now, this brought a question for me, Dave. These harmful bumps or whatever you want to call it, we got now, say.
Speed tables.
We were going to be required to get one on the roundabout now.
Yes.
Now, we get a lot of stuff. Have you guys put the things up where it's sort of hours, know where it's?
Yeah, so I intend to go out there and put some kind of marker out there for the new configuration. So the guys, when it gets 5 or 6 inches of snow out there, covers that curb,
So just like the same one in Delaware?
Yeah. But even the bump outs, my concern really isn't as much the speed table that's out there. It's the curbs that jet out into where they never used to be.
Okay.
Because if you plow the same road for 10 years, and you're just following, in the middle of the night, you're just following where you think it should be, and the drift, snow drift goes over those things that are now, you got a 6 or 8 inch high curb there that's covered in snow, and you hit that with a plow going 15 or 20 miles an hour. It's devastating. You're breaking the curbs, you're breaking the plow, and hopefully the guy that's driving doesn't get hurt.
Well, I do it for my driving, so I was just wondering if you guys are gonna get up there and someone's gonna get up there and mark, make sure.
What about the speed tables in the roundabout?
Excuse me?
If to put the speed bumps tables, where you have to new ones in the roundabout?
Yeah, that's the state. They designed that and built that.
They're not there now. They're gonna be added?
No, there's currently one when you go out of the circle into 587.
Right.
There's that.
Eric, good morning now. 2311 traffic signal. Good with that one?
Not be going down because we have a lot fewer lights.
We have LEDs now that are using less electricity.
Right, but they never use much anyway because it's LED.
Right. And then we have taken down several lights around the city.
Right.
3989, safety officer. So that's one person whose pay went up 6,000,
Yes,
and that's a CSEA person.
yes.
Okay. Is that a lower level position, lower grade in CSEA? You don't know about that law?
Grade 12, so it's on the lower side.
Or the salaries in general sewer. Or the salary, okay, general sewer.
Right, 20%, yeah, they cover, whenever we cover multiple areas, it's a little bit of pay is taken out of every aspect. Streets, sewers, whatever they share.
Okay, we are with that? All right, next one, 5110, maintenance street, 5117.
There's an increase. Complaint.
This again is, across the board raise here, proposed.
There's two additional positions in this.
And I see this a couple times, insurance recoveries under revenues, what do we get insurance?
If somebody hits something, takes a pole down, but, whatever's out there, accidental. If we're lucky enough to find out who did it, or there's a police report, we can then go back to the person's insurance company, regain.
Okay, cool. Very
Sometimes.
nice.
Sometimes, you're right.
Sometimes, right.
Yeah, and they typically will, the insurance company will call up and try to offer less, and you have to go back and forth with.
Yeah.
We had an accident on Broadway last night. Probably $30,000 accident. Took down, or hit the light, one of the new light poles.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, made a mess up.
Oh, my God.
Two new garbage cans, one of the brand new benches, destroyed everything.
Where?
Just where the old Dunkin' Donuts was on Broadway.
You have to replace all that?
We will have to replace all that. Luckily, since the contractor is still in charge of that project, they will have to, they will have to go after the insurance company.
What's it again? I couldn't hear you.
DWI accident on Broadway last night. And we've got about a $30,000 damage to this. Would have been to the city, but the contractor's still in charge of that project, so they have to deal with it.
So they have to replace the equipment?
Yes,
Can we arrange for that to always be the case?
I wish.
Once they are done, how long would it be to get in a new light pole if something like that happens again?
It would take a while because these new light poles, I think they were on a 12-week back order, 16-week back order, and we don't currently stock one. We would probably try to fit it into a budget at some point to actually get one of those newer ones, just to have. For temporary, we'd probably try to retrofit something that we take down from somewhere else that we can put in temporarily. But to go apples to apples, it's a bit of a task.
Did they say how long these lights will last?
Oh, they'll probably outlast you and I, but
As long as
That
they
ain't
get
saying
hit.
much.
they're pretty substantial. But I mean, this one last night took probably a 30-mile-an-hour hit, and it didn't break it off, but it definitely cracked it. It's, probably unsafe to stay. So,
And this is a more frequent occurrence than you might think it is. This year alone, we've had 17 light pole knockdowns in the city. Out of the 17, 4 of them, there was no recovery to be made. People are not very good at staying on the road. The more stuff we have along the road, the more stuff there is to hit. Light poles happen to be a magnet for cars. If anybody's been out Twink Drive recently, they see that there's 6 or 7 missing. There's a couple on Washington Avenue missing. We try to put them up as fast as we can. Sometimes we have something that we have as a takedown that we can replace it with sooner than later. Other times, like Ed said, some of the decorative poles are 12 to 16 week lead time to get them back to the city, and then we have to have time to put it up. So when something goes missing like that, it is a big deal to us. It's quite a disturbance. This morning's occurrence was multiple personnel for hours just to get it sorted out. And that's just to clean it up, let alone now have to deal with the contractors to get this stuff in place. And it's not always what you see on the surface. I mean, that light bulb took a shot. The video of it is pretty dramatic. But it actually broke the base of the light bulb. So that'll have to be excavated and re-poured with a new base for.
All right, so all the pavers, all the new pavers around it, you know, the sidewalk, everything from the ground up has to be redone.
Is that one of the old fashioned looking lights or the new? What are they made out of?
The cast iron or the?
The new ones that were installed on Broadway are aluminum, they're cast aluminum. The ones that we have uptown are cast iron. Neither of which can hold up to a vehicle hit at more than probably 15 or 20 miles an hour.
So was it going down? This vehicle was going down or coming up? Like what?
They were headed towards the underpass.
Towards underpass.
From downtown or uptown?
They're coming from uptown.
Going fast.
You gotta wait till springtime to do this, right?
Well, hopefully the contractor can still get in there. We told him we wanted this as soon, you know, as soon as possible to get it done.
They have extra poles on hand?
No.
So you gotta wait.
I mean, these poles are very expensive. They're hard to keep in stock. And we've tried to standardize with the projects. Now, all the new projects all have the same pole, so we can stock one pole for multiple areas. But for the last 50 years of projects around the city, we have a dozen or more different styles, different bases. Some are aluminum, some are cast, some are decorative, some are just standard. To stock one of everything, we would blow a budget just on that alone. We never know what the next one's going to be. 2 weeks ago, we had one on Washington Avenue get hit on Tuesday, and on Wednesday, another one on Joint Drive got hit. Neither of which are the same as anything that we would have stocked. Our electrician is very good at retrofitting things, but one of them cannot be replaced because it did destroy the base in the sidewalk. That will need to be excavated and reset.
Where at Washington was that right now?
Washington,
Yeah.
in front of Ulster Savings. There's the second pole from the Schwenk Drive, Washington Avenue.
So for us to, if I came in here trying to foresee what is going to come down, the budget would be astronomical for, you know, when you're talking $20,000 a piece for something. To stock them isn't really cost effective. We will try at some point to, you know, get something in stock just to have in case. But
So what's gonna happen with the destroyed light pole in front of Dunkin'? Does that just get junked or can it be reused somehow?
There's not a full inspection of it yet. The contractor will need to put an aerial in and inspect the rest of the pole. If it's not usable, yeah, it will go to the scrapyard. If it is usable or can be repaired, it'll be replaced with new and then be repaired and put in stock.
that's the hope, you know, that we use if it's repairable, but we don't make that call, because that's obviously a safety issue. And if it can't take another hit, you know, meet the requirements of taking a small collision, we don't dare put it up.
And then you've got 2 new positions in this lawn?
Is that going to be the current vacancies or? Okay. Okay, so one MEO is what we have added. The rest are the vacancies, yes.
What was that second one?
One MEO we have added in, and the rest are currently vacant.
Okay. So right now, currently, we have 10. Last year, at the start, we had 9, now you have 10, and once, and your budget line looks X for 11. So you have one thing, as you look at it.
Yeah, there's 11 in there.
And now that line item, the NDOs, I don't know, I look at here, it was requested, again, is that part of the mayor's increase? But we requested about a little less than 43. That it's gonna be recommended 100, so it's about a $57,000 increase from what we requested. Is that
That was all.
That's a difference in the number of positions as well. 42,288 with one person. 162.
that is, because that's what we requested 2 people in here.
That's a difference in our positions, plus there's that marginal difference for the proposed CSEA increase.
Okay, I see what you said, okay.
All right, we're gonna go to that. We can move on then to page 119, 5152 garage. Anything stand out to anybody on that one?
You know, the increase in rate pay.
What's that with the retirement accumulation, the requested 42,000, but none recommended?
That's, we have someone in there that's proposing to be retiring next year. And we have to account for that.
Okay. So John said, will be covered by contingency.
Yeah, normally what we'll do is in those for the retirement accumulation request, we won't include it in the department line. The request would come from contingency with the expectation that any savings in backfilling that position could help offset the draw from contingency.
And when it's that, it's consistent there, no big changes. All right, any questions about that one? All right, so 5142, no ice removal. Page 121.
Cost of salt.
Yeah, cost of salt, again, fuel issues, fuel surcharges, anticipated cost increases.
We have salt left over from last winter.
We're going into this year with a full salt shed.
Great.
Good.
You can see also the certificates here in the overtime pay, request of $90,000, but knocked down to the same level as last year, 56,000. Does that mean you're expecting more snow?
Got to be ready for it. I mean, it's yeah. So trying to keep the budget in check and just, you know, that's something I feel comfortable if we do have issue with snow, you know, to come to contingency or, you know, to fulfill it if needed, you know, later in the year, next year.
Okay. Anything else there? All right, then we can move on to, what?
Street lights?
Yeah, street lights. 122.
Looks like the electricity is down, right? LEDs are working.
Yes.
We have any more poles that have to be more,
I think just a few of the decorative ones.
What's up?
That change over to the LEDs.
There's less than a handful that need to be changed over at this time. It's an access issue at this point. If we can gain access to be able to do it.
And the bulbs are lasting? Have we had any problems?
We have had a few go out, not nearly as much as the old style have, but we definitely have had a handful. We're trying to make a decision now on how many do we let get out before we hire a contractor to come in and change them. We're not doing like per light. It's much cheaper for us if we can get a group up together, hire a guy for a day to come in and do them all.
Right.
so that's the same thing, that's the one where we have to be recommended or approved by Central Hudson still. We are going and change its light bulb up.
The city of Kingston electrician is not allowed to work on the street light poles. We try to get certification somehow, some way from them. Hasn't been successful yet, so we still have to, depend on an outside contractor.
You need a lineman, right? Is that what I remember?
A lineman or someone who has a minimum certification to get to work within a certain clearance of a certain voltage up there. And, again, some of our streetlights, we do have that available where you would possibly be able to do that, but the Central Hudson doesn't feel comfortable allowing us to do so. So it's probably insurance reasons, liability, might be something within their contracts with their unions as to letting other people work on poles. But we have tried repeatedly over the last 2 years to.
So the lights that are out, are they like randomly in different places?
Yeah.
Not anything concentrated that would create
No,
a safety
it's
issue?
just-
Okay.
Just all.
What we found so far is that the longevity of the lights seems to be there. The lights that we have out now, there's Central Hudson power issues, which we can't deal with at all. Some of it's underground, some of it's overhead. Other ones that are on the wooden poles that are out, we don't know because we can't change them out. We won't know until the contractor comes in to pull the light down and actually test it to see if it was the light that went bad or if it was on Central Hudson end for connection. We won't know that until that first round of changes happens.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, good with that. Bus operations, I'm guessing that 225,000, that's our payment to the county.
How many more years is this gonna go on, John? And,
For city bus?
yeah,
It's 5 years, I believe, from July 1. Correct. I think July 9th, 5 years. So a couple more years.
So 8140 storm sewers. Anything there? I'll go to that. All right, page 125, page 160, refuse and garbage.
what you wanna be on now, so.
Refuse and garbage, page 125.
Thank you.
So the new organic recycling that's coming, is that affected here? Is that going to happen next year?
I couldn't tell you.
Not sure.
Other offices, sustainability coordinator would most likely be working that up.
Right. So that would be a new budget.
That would then come into our budget, I would assume, and we would have to, man it,
Right.
equipment.
It's a whole new thing.
It's a whole new thing.
Same trucks though?
Not necessarily.
Oh my God.
So it's a costly endeavor.
Right.
How we doing with people getting up to speed on
Recycling?
what to put out? Are
It's
we getting
become
it?
much better.
Yeah.
We still have a few that are, we still leave behind a few every day. But it is,
Much better.
it is much, much better. And, some are the diehards that just can't get it right.
We don't want to get it right.
Don't want to get it right, however that may be, but we do send out our enforcement officer to educate those people. She knocks on a lot of doors, tries to educate, make people understand the do's and
Well, that's
don'ts.
a good thing. I mean, we're not like giving everybody fines automatically, right? We're trying to.
No,
Work with them.
it's only the very blatantly disregarded.
Yeah. There is one of your employees that lives by me, walks around the night before collection and looks through everybody's trash. And it'll tell you, that's not supposed to go there. Let's take that out. And, it's very nice of him to do that. He doesn't have to do that,
I'm
but
sure he charges for that.
it's, I get a bill. I was wondering what that bill was for. But that's, it's very nice of them to do that, so nobody gets penalized, just because they forgot to do something.
Ryan, do
Pretty
you know
cool.
where we're at with the number for the leaky homes recently?
Well, again, it's kind of deceiving based on the number of folks that we have on the street. When we started, we were almost at 97% compliance every day. People, they got it, right? Or 97% of a lot. We're about 98% now. We picked up that 1%. Where we had 60 cans that we'd leave behind before, now we're leaving behind less than one page. So it could be 5 or 6, or it could be a dozen, 16. The compliance is there. Our code enforcer, as Ed said, is very good at helping. Our guys are also very good too. If there's one thing, they will remove it and put it in the garbage can and still dump the recycling. So our staff is very, very good at helping people when they ask and trying not to be so strict on what they're pulling. It's helped. I mean, 98% compliance, I think, is pretty good. It's probably the best.
That's really good.
I just want to make sure on the record that I have to just keep ourselves discussing anything in regard to 61, basically 61, 60, 81, 60. Also about looking interest. Anything in regard to anything in regard to salaries.
And on a happy note, the Resource Recovery Agency is not raising their fees for dumping at this point for this year. So
Okay.
I will at least keep that number in check.
Is tomorrow the end of yard waste pickup?
I don't think there's
There's never
an end. We've never ended at that day because we always get too many calls. So whenever we have trucks available, we still send them out.
We've heard from one of my constituents every single year about it. So I'm expecting, I'm going to hear from him again this year.
I mean, it's pretty much until the snow flies. So we'll be out there.
Okay.
All right, so 8160, anything else on that line? There is this other equipment, line 211, recommended 30,000.
Yep. Okay.
It's 125 still in line 211, other equipment. There's this recommended $30,000.
That's for totes and tote equipment. To replace old stuff and the constant maintenance of the stuff that's currently out there.
How, is that a frequent occurrence that totes have to be replaced?
Yes. You buy them all at the same time, and you sit out in the sun and the weather, and it's, the UV rays, the animal, whatever you have, you just the maintenance, or the truck grabbing them and dumping them, they do wear out. but they were, those brown toads were mostly bought all at the same time, so they're getting to their lifespan and, so hopefully these newer ones that we got over the last 2 years with the yellow lids will last, now. Every now and then, a car hits them, or the truck grabs it too hard, breaks them, or wheels fall off. So.
Very good. Thanks, 8161, solid waste management. All right. Okay, we're gonna move on to landfill, 129.
What is this, what landfills?
Well, this is, so we, excuse me? Yeah, the tipping fees, we have the Jockey Hill landfill, the old city of Keene landfill, we still have to do some testing up there and mowing of the facility.
Right.
But mostly the contracted expenses, 472, and tipping fees. Again, that's resource recovery, you're keeping their number flat, so you're using the same number again.
All right, so then we're over to recycling. 130, line 8164. Again, that's up about 10%. Hospital medical. All right, anything stand out to anybody there? Getting, all right, page 132, 170, street cleaning.
Explain what the street cleaning, you have 3 people in the department. Is this the sweeper?
Yeah, sweeper, who else is in there? So we got our tree tech guy in there as well.
We have 3 people. Two
HMEOs and a tree tech, yes.
Okay.
So HMEO, the one gentleman is one of the operators of the, we have 2 sweepers, so we typically have 2 guys out.
So did the new sweeper come in?
Excuse me?
Does the new sweeper that we did,
No,
we
it
approved
still
last year?
hasn't, still has not come in. Much like the other vehicles, they're sitting on lines waiting for parts. I did have an issue with it. I went back to the manufacturer and said, because we were supposed to have it in July. Then they said October. I said at that time, you're going to give us a machine that we're not going to be able to use through the rest of the winter. So if you drop this off, we're not going to start the warranty on that till the following spring. So they at least agreed to that. But we were supposed to have it before the end of October. Still didn't happen. Talked to him about a week ago. I guess it's as good as mine. So.
What do the HMEOs that operate the sweepers do during the winter when
Plow snow.
they,
Yep. We just moved them around.
Okay.
Recast them.
And the tree maintenance, is that over the streets and stuff, trimming and
Trimming, we'll trim trees, we have stuff. But we're trying to set a designated program to, cover parts of the city. So you were out with me last year. Were you out with me to plow last year?
I was.
You were, but when I came by your house, so Fair Street is notorious for having the low hanging branches.
Right.
So when you go down Fair Street with snow load on the trees,
Right.
it's constantly hitting the tops of the trucks and
Yeah.
breaking mirrors, ripping antennas off the
Right.
truck, to
Right.
flashing lights. So
Right.
we're trying to cover all these known areas that,
Got it.
systematically will offset our costs for broken trucks.
Yeah.
And we will be, when we do come to an area now, we will be putting out the letter of intent to the people of the affected areas and say, hey, we're here for the next 2 weeks, whatever it is.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
If you have any questions.
Yeah.
So this is taking that, Michelle, was the tree maintenance task person as well? You know, so in wintertime, it's plowed?
Yes.
All right, okay.
All right, page 134, page 145, flood and erosion control. I see anything standing out there. Anybody else?
What's electricity for here?
This is what Alan was talking about down behind the plaza.
Oh,
That's all.
oh.
Okay, so the next, page 135, 8989, this is the pipe plan. Does the zero there need to be torn down?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Well,
That's done.
share with you guys a conversation that I had with Steve about this. You know, like coming out of our last meeting with
So there.
yes, the mayor.
Okay.
We were, right, we were all frustrated, you know, I was, Tony was, Michelle was, because of this idea of having to come up with $130,000 to maintain this thing, and where's that money coming from? And the idea came out, maybe Michelle said it, a referendum. But we talked about the idea of the mayor actually sending out doing a real proper survey and saying, you know, getting some real feedback from the public. Okay, do you want to keep it or do you want to take it down? And if you want to take it down, I'm sorry, if you want to keep it, are you willing to agree to a tax increase, you know, that we would put some specific number. Anyway, he seemed real excited about doing this next year.
Gathering that info.
Gathering that info and kind of really making this happen one way or the other. You know, letting the public make a decision and agreeing to levy money to maintain it properly. So hopefully he'll do that. I'll still on the sidelines, be egging him on, you know, but one way or another, I think we just gotta do one thing or another.
And what about the delinquents?
Yeah, so one of the questions is, should they have more say, or should they just, are they just citizens, one of the citizens? You know, you can argue that they should have more say because it's their buildings that will be affected, but you can also argue the other side to say that this is an asset of the city, of the people of Kingston, so it's the population that should make the decision. So I'm not sure where I went on that, you know, but. So, it's just an update.
All right.
So it's still there. It's still-
Oh, it's still here, okay, all right. That was quick.
Yeah.
You rebuilt it, we're going to rebuild it that far, all right. So then, we're at 136, which is the personnel details, so, there's been all this talk of raises and so forth. Did you get a projected raise in this budget?
For myself?
Yeah. Yeah, did you ever have a performance review?
No.
No, okay, and were you party to the discussion of any of the raises, whether it's CSEA or other department heads?
Not department heads of CSEA. Ryan and myself have been advocating for a while now about doing something for the personnel, just to kind of stay in line with the county, because when they upgraded.
Again, I would have to speak to myself when we discuss that.
Okay. So when the county did their changes, it caused me or the city of Kingston DPW to lose 5 personnel so far this year.
Because they all went
Because
directly
they
to
all
the
went to the county.
county.
That's terrible.
So like, our hope to bump up some of that number was to attract some more, qualified people to retain the ones we had.
And do you know if the county increased all CSEA employees or just those who worked in their DPW?
I don't know. I really don't have the gist of what the county is. I stick to my own system here.
I hear you. I think it's definitely important that we increase the salaries, certainly folks at the low end. So I think there's some question we have about how that was done. And you weren't involved in changing all the steps and all that stuff. Okay. All right.
And for yourself, Ed, were you given any reason why you're not in the running?
Till now, no.
Okay. I know you said you'd have a discussion, but it didn't necessarily have to be a discussion for him to say, guess what?
I read about it. Everybody else did.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very much think that almost everybody needs to be bumped up. It's obvious. To be competitive with the county, and also people deserve a raise.
Well, and I think,
Or be fired. I mean, if they're here, they're good, you're keeping them, they should be rewarded and bumped up.
and there should be some kind of format for doing that,
Right.
some kind of system of evaluations or
Right.
performance reviews or something like that
That's right.
to justify getting a raise or not getting a
That's
raise. The same as any other.
Well,
System.
we actually do have some practices outlined in the management handbook. So that's what I'm asking, because the management handbook is a performance review every July. And that the other potential reason to increase salaries or wages is if the city does a comparison, like for like. So the department, the superintendent of public works, Dixie, Newburgh, we should look at what they're making. And within reason, of course, try to bring the salaries in line. That's, we're also having trouble trying to figure out why certain department heads got increases, some of them significant ones, and others nothing at all. And from what we can tell, there was no prior discussion of this. There was no record performance reviews. There's been no data provided to us with the comparisons. So we're just trying to figure this out. Trying to find out also the most equitable way, because I think Don's right. I think that our salaries here have been compressed over time. And so especially at the low end, it's important to bring those up. But I think in this general COVID crisis, we've been fortunate on the economic side. So we'd like to be able to show appreciation across the board as much as possible. The question is how to do that equitably. So, all right, so I guess that brings us to the capital plan. Unless, do you have anything else to say on that?
No, just again, Ron and myself advocate for our personnel. I think they do a great job out there. They made it through COVID. We kept everything rolling as normal. Kudos to them all. They made the effort.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna, as I like to do, give a little anecdote here about how happy I am with the performance. And I might have mentioned this to you. We come from out of town a couple of weeks ago, and we come off the roundabout flawlessly, I might add. And when we got to the top of Broadway, it was about 11:30 at night, and we looked down, and it was really incredible. I mean, I was proud to say, I'm from Kingston, that's part. And it used to be when you got to that point of Broadway, it was like, oh my God, I hope nobody's looking. And now it's incredible looking. You can see down on it. I have to admit, I was a little leery about the removal of the trees, but the way this looks with the new lighting, and you can see the old buildings, and, I mean, it's really nice, and the lights, I don't know how you did it. I mean, there doesn't look like there's 1 inch deviance in the height of every light going down. I mean, it's incredible what it looks like. And if you're not a late night person, stay up late one night and go up to the top of Broadway and just look down Broadway. You can see City Hall, sitting up on the hill, lit up. I mean, it's really beautiful. And it's a credit to you guys. And, it's nice. This has been a topic of conversation as long as I can remember, to make Broadway a really nice entranceway to the city. Of course, as we've already discussed, it's going to take a lot of money to keep it like that. So, but, I'm very happy, with what you guys are doing and the way the city looks.
It's a lot of hands in that, right from engineering to grants to the mayor's office to, everything.
Yeah, it is. It's a joint effort, but I think it's really paying
But
off.
now it falls on DPW to take care of it.
Right, yeah.
We need to really pay attention to keep it that way.
Absolutely.
Well, we've also seen you all put down a huge amount of pavement, doing it right now.
Yes.
So actually milling before putting down new pavement.
Yeah, we actually did a couple of figures before we came up here tonight. So far this year, I mean, paving season's over now, but we've done 11,591 tons of blacktop in the city of Kingston this year.
Wow.
That's a very big number.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work. That includes the Broadway project, but within the city limits, that is the number.
That's huge.
But you're doing it the right way. I mean.
Right, we're not, in the past, they were able to just lay over. We can't do that anymore.
There were no curbs left.
Curb reveal,
Yeah.
we would love to have streets that we can just go and pave, but we don't have that. So every time we go out, we have to reset all the irons, we have to rebuild the catch basins. It's so labor intense to get out there and then prep everything for the mill to then come and match the surface to what we have to regain that, at least some curb reveal.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I'm not quite sure the average person really understands the importance of that. It's just, geez, look at this big thing coming in. What are they doing with all that, Until something happens to their property, like the water's going up where there's no curb into their basement or something like that, then, oh, geez,
Also,
why
Pine
would they
Grove
do
and
that?
Grand, that came out beautifully.
So, a lot has happened here in the city of Kingston this year.
Yeah,
We really knocked it out of the park.
that's right.
Great.
So kudos to the personnel, men and women there at DPW for doing the Bill Street and especially Block Park. I've been an advocate for years of Block Park getting its due in regard to these parks. And so to see that the parking lot is done near softball field, and I drove down the other day coming back from out of town just to do that way, and I drove down and see that actual parking lot that goes to the pavilion has been done. That thing hasn't been done since I was probably 12, 13 years old. And to actually see that blacktop and the vehicles can ride there and not have to worry about the line. It's great. So I want to thank you, thank the mayor, the city for putting more features, the new features in blacktop. Okay. Christmas list here.
Yes, all right. Few pickup trucks. It's related to the new duties you're taking on.
Yeah, that's related to the building and grounds unit, 1625. So they need 2 trucks to be able to pull an equipment trailer around. Also, there's mowers, a snow blower, and everything they need to go out and be self-sufficient.
And then are those going to be gas powered, hybrid, electric?
Unless you can give me a hybrid or electric with a snowplow on it,
Oh,
it
okay.
would be yes.
All right, so hydrogen powered, nuclear powered. All right, and so you said the next line is related to that also, yeah?
Yes, so the first two lines, yes, are basically the 1625.
Okay, and then the large dump and spreader and plow?
Yep, that's, so again, adding to our fleet and replacing outdated vehicle.
So is this a snowplow, I'm assuming, right?
Yes, large snowplow dump truck, yes.
How many snowplows do we have right now?
26.
26 snowplows.
26 dedicated plow vehicles, and then there's about a dozen other that hang in the wings of as needed, or people, say like the carpenter's truck, that has a snowplow on it, but the carpenter has a job to do. That doesn't necessarily go on the road every time.
And these are all 26, so these are the big snowplows, or if it's 26, it could be this pickup that have it's close in there.
Yeah, it's a combination of everything.
But this one is going to be a big pick snowplow.
This will be a large one, yes.
So how many big snowplows do you have? The one that are with,
About
10 or 11.
and all 10 or 11 of them are used every time.
If we get bodies to fill them, they are used, yes.
And what's the age of this?
The age that the lowest is probably 2006,
2006 up through,
up through 2020 was there?
Well, it's 11.
Truck 39. Actually, that's the one I took you for a ride in last year.
2006 to 2020.
Yes.
So you 10 or 11, so when there's no emergency, all 10 or 11 of these vehicles are used.
If I have enough personnel to come in, they will all be on the road. If I don't have enough personnel to come in, they will sit and wait in case, and then it gets, if something breaks down, it's a spare truck for somebody to actually jump out of one and get to the other, keep things going.
And they're all reliable, all good working condition.
Not all of them, no. Some of them, we are, again, the 2006s and the 2008s, they are requiring a lot of maintenance these days. We're replacing the floors in them. They have seen their lifespan come and go.
How often is the brand new one? How often has it been used?
The brand new one, how much?
2020, that we just got, you guess last year. or maybe
It
before.
plowed all last winter and it's being used. I did not use it for blacktop this year because it's a four-wheel drive vehicle and I did not want to wear it out per se. Doing something not snow related.
So this could be used for blacktop as well.
It could be used for blacktop. This particular one that I'm asking for now is definitely for blacktop.
So when you use it, you're asking for it's going to be strictly for blacktop.
No, it's going to be plowing and blacktop.
Okay. Thank you.
Good, and so then the swap loader and the water tank trailer, those are also for the?
Yes, that's also going to be used within, that's going to be department wide, this work with a 4x4 swap loader with the plow. That's going to be a vehicle that can actually, you can put different configurations of bodies on it. So you can have a flatbed, you can have a dump, a roll-off container if need be, something kind of spread around, go utilize it in many different ways. The water tank trailer will be something that goes hand in hand with the building and grounds crew to be able to water all the trees and the plants up and down Broadway, and the roundabout uptown. It'll wash the sidewalks uptown.
Great, and then the 1 ton
4x4 one-ton regular cab, with the utility with the plow. It's going to be replacing one of our current vehicles that's very outdated.
So this is a regular 4x4?
Yes, it's a regular, basically, it looks like a carpenter's truck. It's just another utility body type that will be used for with our street crew to, when they're working on manholes, it'll be used with the sewer stuff. So it basically a tool truck, you know, all the compartments in it. So it'll hold the tools. It'll have a fuel tank on it to go out and fuel our equipment.
And the one that is replacing, you just said it's going to be replaced. Is that how it is? Compartments for tools? Or can that be used by another department?
No, that one's going to be probably put on auction.
Auction.
Yeah, this one's totally being replaced. It's outlived its lifespan.
But you're going to put the old one on auction and get out of it?
Yes.
20-yard refuse packer, is that to replace, that's the yard refuse? To pick up 175,000?
Say that again. That's what I told, so all right, if you want to go in order here, so we're on forklift for the garage, and that's the next thing in line. We have a forklift in the garage, it's, I think it's 1970 something. That is no longer as safe, it doesn't have brakes, it's very.
Isn't that the one that runs with squirrels?
Yeah, but it's utilized daily. We unload trucks with it, we get shipments, deliveries of steel, you know, all our posts and signs, and when they're working in the shop to lift heavy, we don't have an overhead crane in the shop, so everything that we do lifting wise in the shop utilizes forklift.
Are you going to keep this old forklift?
We'll be getting rid of that.
To a museum, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're at
So the 20-yard refuse factor is one of our normal street garbage trucks. And that's going to be replacing one of our 2006s.
What? I couldn't hear you.
I said this one is going to be another one we've updated to in the last couple of years, the 20-yarders, the white ones, the all-white, not the automated, not the ones with the arm on it, but the regular packers. This will be replacing one of the older ones that will then be put on auction.
So this is not going to have an ornament?
No.
So this is the one that we utilize on Broadway?
Well, we use these all over the city. So yes, I mean, it will be one that goes up and down Broadway for sure.
Where else do you use? Where else do you use?
Uptown.
You don't use them on ones uptown?
No.
All right, okay.
all right, and then snow blower.
Yep, the snow blower is what we were facing that snow event last year, and the state of New York actually was nice enough to bring theirs in for a short time during that snow event that we used for those narrower streets up in Midtown. But that's not always available. They have a couple that typically travel around upstate to the western part of New York. We, at that time, just happened to be lucky enough that they had one close by. They moved it up from somewhere down in Orange County to come here to help out. But that's not always available, readily available. With the new configuration on Broadway, with the bike route and the way all that parking is set up, every time it snows now, we are going to have to do snow removal from Greenhill, Broadway, as well as uptown.
So what's the snow blower do? What this do? It's going to blow snow back towards the houses.
Well, if we have areas that it can blow it off the streets and we're not picking it up, that's good. It's also big enough to load trucks. So a truck can come alongside it and it can blow it right into the truck. It's the size of this thing that's typically we use a smaller skid steers with the snow blowers. But the volume that I'm anticipating having with Broadway being the way it is, and some of those narrower streets, in Midtown. This is,
So it sounds like a little bit more like a chipper shredder.
yes.
All right, so it's not lower.
Yeah, because I was thinking.
It's a very large, it's a loader, front-end loader mounted snow blower. So it's self-contained, it has its own big diesel motor in it, so they snap onto the front of the loader, one of the two city loaders, and they drive
Goes
around.
along and you can hold it in the back of a truck.
Yep, it has a big sheet on it, so we can just drive stuff right next to the truck, shoot it right into the truck.
Don't we already have some of them?
Excuse me?
Do we already have some of them?
I couldn't hear
Do
you.
we already have that kind of equipment already?
We have smaller ones that go on the front of the skid steers. And some of the trucks it won't reach, so we have to be limited to how we do our,
So when I was with you last year, they were doing that on Broadway,
yes.
but that was our equipment.
Well, it's the one time, that big snowstorm, we actually had the states, and this is going to be identical to what the state DOT has. I wanted something very similar, so with our shared services, if, they came to help us out, if they get in a pinch, we can go help them out. It's the same type of machine, it'll go onto many different loaders, with a quick attach hitch on it. So, I wanted to keep something that's consistent with what they currently have, just so we can kind of go back and forth if need be.
Will that be helpful on Broadway, just where
That's
the bumps
basically what-
outs are, so that we're not
Yeah.
potentially
When we-
hitting them with a plow?
Right, when we plow Broadway now, typically, we plow everything to the curb. Now with the bike lanes and the parking lane, we're gonna have to plow from the curb and bring everything into basically where the parking lanes are. And then from the street, the center line of the road into the parking lanes. So now we're gonna have this big, huge mountain of snow, the whole length of Broadway. And every time it snows, we're gonna have to load that snow up and get rid of it
Like immediately,
immediately.
right?
So when plowing operations are done, or before they're done, we're gonna have to have guys out there actually falling back and doing that snow removal. That
We have to
larger
keep those
machine.
bike lanes open during winter time.
I believe they're gonna, we haven't heard anything otherwise. So I know some of the lower trails are typically seasonal, but I think they're going to start making them for season. But Broadway has always been, Greenfield and Broadway are always gonna be for season.
I mean, it sounds like we have to, even if you don't have to technically keep them clear, you have to keep them clear for people that are parking that have to get to the sidewalk.
Right,
so.
right, yeah, and garbage too,
Right.
because everybody brings it to the curb.
All right, any other questions then relating to the capital plan for DPW? Any other questions, comments relating to the DPW budget? Hearing none, then I will, without objection, call this meeting to a close, adjourn. 8:41. 42, getting a big one.
All right, we have a motion.
We have the motion. Thank you, Alyssa.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
See you too.